back to the JKA Massey Instructors course. So today we're going to take up the last video in regards to the general descriptions of KUMITE, and to take up where I left off I will continue on the board. So first of all, just put up the KUMITE kanji again, and now we're going to go into the three, let's call it, different types of KUMITE. So put those up here first. Now the first type of KUMITE that we do in the dojo is called kyogi KUMITE. And this is the kanji for kyogi. So kyo means compete. That's the kyo. That's this bit here. And gi comes from, again, gijitsu. Oops, sorry. Stop that again. This is technique, let's call it. In this case, gijitsu, we're going to call it sparring technique. So this is the gi. It comes basically from gijitsu, meaning sparring or technique for sparring. Now, we'll go into this in more detail at the moment. First of all, I'm just giving you the three splits. So the first split is kyogi. This is competition training, and we do lots of different techniques and drills and so forth in the dojo to sharpen up the kyogi competition edge. Let's get the winning edge. Now the second one is shiai, and shiai means the actual tournament. So when you go to a tournament, this can mean a match basically, or a tournament. So, and shi really means, shi means test, and I, as we've already explained in other kanji, means to come together. Comes from the word ao, this one here, and this means to come together. So what we're doing is we're testing each other by fighting each other in a competitive arena in order to win or lose. But the idea of shiai is a match or a tournament as a test to compete against each other. So this is in the dojo, this is in the real hall training for a specific competition. And the last one, which I already mentioned before, but I'll just put that in for completeness here, was jisen. And we already talked about jisen before. This is real life fighting, and how you can apply your karate out in the street if need be. So I've explained that one before already, but ji means real or true, truth. So this is the ji. And sen means war, so, or a battle, equals jisen. So jisen equals a war or a battle for real. As we said before, could be for any use out in the street or even in combat. Now I'm going to go into these in a bit more detail, so I'll take these two off just for the moment, and we'll come back to those in a minute. But we'll continue with kyogi KUMITE. So what is kyogi KUMITE? How do we put kyogi KUMITE together? Well, the first statement we could say about kyogi KUMITE is that it has a lot of different variations. So this word here is henka. So henka actually translates as variation. So to vary different drills. So we're in the dojo, we're practicing competitive KUMITE for final practice would be tournament KUMITE. But in order to get into a tournament and get to a winning position, we have to do various drills. These drills are split up into different things. So these variations of drills are called henka or henkawaza. Now the first thing we probably need to know about henkawaza is tai sabaki. So this is tai sabaki. Now this term has already been taken up in the previous Kihon section, but just because it's now relevant to the Kumite precisely, I'm going to take it up again. So tai means body. So this is body. And sabaki means basically to handle or to deal with. So the whole concept is movement of the body as a practical drill for teaching someone how to compete. So this is part of Kyogi Kumite. Right, so that's the first one there. Now, just leave that one up there for a moment. So the first part of Kyogi could be called henka. Okay? So this is the variations. This is a general title under Kyogi of the different things. First movement may be tai sabaki. Second, we can have ma'ai. So let's just put that one there again so we don't get lost. So that one's tai sabaki. And this kanji here, ma'ai, means distancing. Mai, sometimes mawai. So this idea here again is ma means space or distance. And again, this ao or I means coming together. So this is I. So let's put that there. So the I bit here is come together. So the idea of space training, again, this is another concept to do with Kyogi Kumite, variations. One variation is tai sabaki, moving the body from left to right, backwards, forwards, and so forth, as we mentioned already in sen no sen, go no sen, and tai no sen. Then we have ma'ai distancing, so we are training long distance movements, maybe uchikomi, driving in very hard, or stepping back, etc., and narrowing or lengthening the distance according to the techniques that we want to perform. So this would be ma'ai. Now the next one is hyoshi, and hyoshi is here. And hyoshi basically means the rhythm, or how you move. The hyo actually comes from beat. Is beat. By beat, we literally mean that. So, you know, the beat, the music, the tempo, that's the rhythm of something. And she actually is just child. It actually comes from child. So child. So maybe a kid playing on a drum would make a rhythm, or not, depending how good they are. So hyoshi is the idea of rhythm, perhaps going forward, coming back, going forward, going to the left, going to the right. How do you actually make the rhythm for your techniques? So these are all under the idea of henka. Okay, so this is the variations. One, tai sabaki, body movement, how to handle something. So this is body, and this is handle, deal with. This one, ma'ai, coming together, space, no space, how to close the space, lengthen the space. Hyoshi, rhythm, how do you get your rhythm? A lot of people bounce back and forward, back and forward, back and forward. This is a way to get their rhythm going. And possibly one more that we can fit in here. So I'm going to have to take henka out to fit this one just for the moment. So let's put him over there. And this last one would be heiho. And heiho translates tactics. Okay, so hei actually comes from almost military things. So this would be like a soldier. How do they work out military tactics? And hei ho, so this is hei, and ho just means the method, how to do. Okay, so we now have 4 basic principles for henka waza. The first one, heiho, tactics. The second one, taisabaki, moving the body, how to handle the body. The third one, ma'ai, distancing. And the fourth one, hyoshi, rhythm. Now, we can actually put, there are a bunch of drills that go with this, so I need to move that out for the moment. So, for the first one, these aren't necessarily in order, but just to give you an idea. So the first thing here, one drill, right, would be called happo. This is, ha means the same, it's, you probably know this from your various stances, happodachi. So this is basically 8, the figure 8. So often called circle training. So when you're doing your circle training, you're basically going from all directions. People are coming in at you from in directions, and you've got to move, turn around and move very quickly in order to be able to block. This can get very competitive. This is dojo training. The second one, a couple more of these up here first. So the second one is called kanren. Now, I'm sure your senseis in the past have, and you maybe even do with your students, you get the students to line up, and then from one end of the dojo, they just go full pelt down to the other end of the dojo, linking up techniques. So this idea is to link a technique together. So these come into link, to hook together. Quite often in Japanese dojos you see one person lined up, there's somebody in front of them, so it's tori and uki, and then they just go and they go all the way down the dojo, full power, any technique they like. There's no particular blocking as such, it's just moving. Moving, getting out of the way, moving and practicing technique in linked conditions. The person attacking is trying to link as many different techniques as possible into one set. You can do it maybe 50 times before he gets to the end of the dojo. The next one, these are all dojo training for kyogi. This is all about kyogi. These are all variations of kyogi kumite. This one is called kaishi, which I'm sure you've all practiced many, many times. Kaishi comes from the verb kaeru, and kaeru means to return. So what happens is that somebody does a technique, right? So I'm tori, I do a technique. I go forward with my movement. Let's say I go forward with oizuki, chudan. Immediately, the other opponent flies back at me. So it kind of like return, popping, like a ping pong ball that's been hit and comes straight back again. And then it's not normally announced, the second technique from the uke. So I'm tori, uke comes flying in from a return thing, and then I've got to defend, doesn't matter what he does, and still do my final technique. If I can still score from the return shot, then that's a good technique, equals kaishi, usually called kaishi. Sometimes they kiri kaishi, to cut back in again. And then the last one, on this one is called okuri. So this one is okuri. So okuru, as we said before when we were talking about yoriashi, okuru means to send. To send. And the idea of okuri ippon is that the person goes forward with one technique and he defends, right? So you've got, again, tori and uki. The tori goes forward and then uki comes back, and he not only sort of returns with this, but he returns with two techniques. To begin with, usually the first technique is announced, so you say, okay, I'm going to do Jodan or Uzuki, okay, I'll come back with Jodan or Uzuki. So it's a little bit like Kaishi Ippon, but then the Okuri Ippon person continues to do another technique. So this is two consecutive techniques, and the second one is unannounced. So then Tori has to back or move or defend using Taisabaki, Maiai, whatever technique he uses in order to defend himself and getting out of the way of the second technique and still deliver the final crushing blow. So these are all different things. These all come under variations of Kyoki Kumite. So this is all henka. Okay, so that's a complete rundown of henka waza. Now, we're going to move all those because there's quite a few of them. And they're all competitive sparring. Now, obviously for competitive sparring there may be two basic principles. So we'll go back to our competitive sparring here. This is Kyogi. So the first principle is called fighting spirit. This one's called Tokon. And Tokon means exactly that, fight and spirit. So that's the first principle you have to have for this training. The second principle, which is very important, is called Hano, which means reaction. Let's call that reaction. And usually this term is connected with, this is Hano and this is Sokudo. Sokudo means speed. So obviously for all those things that I just mentioned, the speed is very important, reaction time is very important. So if you're not quick, you're probably going to get hit, or you're not going to be able to block effectively. So Hano Sokudo means split, very fast reaction time. Now, one term that probably is a little unusual, we'll put this one up here. And this one is only used in Japanese dojos, and this is called Hyapatsu and Hyakuchu. So basically the idea of this is, this kanji means 100, and so Hyapatsu means hitting or discharging 100 things or 100 times. And this kanji also means 100, and this is chu means the center. So when we say hyapatsu, hakutu, it means that the person, when doing a defensive technique, especially if you do circle training, and the person blocks and hits, and then blocks and hits, and blocks and hits, and blocks and hits, every single time he hits perfectly. This would be like hitting the bullseye if you had an archery contest. Ping 1, ping 2, 100 times in the bullseye. That's hyakatsu hyakuchu. Very Japanese term. anyway, we talk about that one later. Now, just to finish off this particular section, we'll go to our last part here. Oh, actually, that's Kyoki Kumite, yeah. So, okay, I think we're finished there. That's Kyoki Kumite. So, we'll leave that at this point, then we'll finish off with the last bit. Okay? Thank you very much. Us!